Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel.
Today's Advent reflection is looking at Luke chapter 7, verses 36 to 39 and 44 to 48. That's Luke chapter 7, beginning at verse 36. Now, one of the Pharisees invited Jesus to have dinner with him. So he went to the Pharisee's house and reclined at the table. When a woman who had lived a sinful life in that town learned that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house, she brought an alabaster jar of perfume, and as she stood behind him at his feet weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. When the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, "If this man were a prophet, he would know who is touching him and what sort of woman she is, that she is a sinner." Then Jesus turned towards the woman and said to the Pharisee, "Do you see this woman? I came into your house. You did not give me any water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but this woman, from the time I entered, has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she has poured perfume on my feet. Therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, for she loved much, but he who has been forgiven little loves little." Then Jesus said to her, "Your sins are forgiven." This is a story about how two different people respond to Jesus. On the one hand, we have the Pharisee, a respectable, learned pillar of the community. He's an open-minded, inquiring intellectual. When the radical rabbi everyone's been talking about comes to town, the Pharisee invites Jesus to dinner, probably opening his home to everybody so all can hear what he has to say. This Pharisee isn't going to be swept away by the latest craze, but nor is he entrenched in the knee-jerk conservatism of those accustomed to being in power. He's trying to find out for himself whether this Jesus character is really the prophet people are saying he is. On the other hand, we have a notoriously disreputable character who invites herself along, becomes completely hysterical, and makes a shameless spectacle of herself. The Pharisee assumes that, unlike everybody else in town, Jesus has no idea the kind of life this woman leads. But Jesus' truth is far more subversive. It's the very fact she has so many sins to be forgiven for that prompts this extraordinary outpouring of love and devotion. This woman hasn't even heard what Jesus has to say when she decides to bring her jar of perfume along. And when she hears him begin to speak, she cares nothing for the opinions of those who witness her. Jesus tells the Pharisee, "He who has been forgiven little loves little." So the question to ask ourselves this Advent is, am I the respectable, law-abiding Pharisee with little really to be forgiven for? Or a desperate sinner weeping with gratitude at the feet of my Lord?